hypnotic dance. She holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our Wednesday YouTube-only live stream here on the Paranormal Portal. And we are embarking on a fantastic journey, as always, here on the Portal, because it's always a fantastic journey. I don't know. You know what I mean. You know what I'm saying. It's an epic time every time we get to do the show. But I thank you all for being here, and all of you that are coming in as we speak. I know it's, I don't know, there's always a little bit of a lag between the time when we launch and when all the people stream in, but thank you guys for being here. Thank you for being a part of what we're doing here on the Portal, and we hope to keep you entertained because, you know, that's what we're all about here on the Portal. What can I say? So, welcome to the show, and before I go any further, I better introduce my good friend and co-host, Mr. Longbeard. How you doing, Don?
I am here. I am happy. It's Hump Day Eve, and I actually don't have to work on Saturday, so I feel pretty darn good.
Ooh.
Oh, there's pics. Okay.
Outstanding.
Outstanding.
Yeah, there's outstanding. Yeah, that. Oh, there is a space in there. Okay, let me try this, Don. Tell me about your week. What's been going on?
My week. Well, my week has been pretty bland.
Really?
I mean, it's just it is everything a week is for me. It's work, take care of stuff, Portal, work, take care of stuff, Portal. It's just, but I don't get me wrong. I absolutely enjoy it. I'm sending you that link you're looking for, by the way.
Oh, good, please.
There, it's in your IM.
It's in my IM?
Yeah, your Facebook IM.
Okay. Sorry, it's not working anyway. Damn it. All right, let me check it. I'm trying to set something up, ladies and gentlemen.
So yeah, I mean, you know, it's just one of those things. You know, you either, you know, you either go with it or you just fight upstream, and then you're just you're nowhere.
You're nowhere.
You don't get anywhere.
That's your week. You're going upstream. Is that what you're saying?
I am going upstream.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome to the stream, Don. We're all here together.
Yes, and this is the stream I want to be on.
There it is.
See?
Good deal.
I was trying to get you around there.
I got it. I got it all done. It's all set up.
Oh, you got that? Good.
I did. It should be all golden.
I wonder if she refreshes
if she'll see a wrench.
I don't know.
And ladies and gentlemen, what we're talking about here is I had since Don isn't able to be here on Friday nights, I need someone to help me watch the chat room. So I have just promoted Mrs. Pixie.
She's got a wrench.
To wrench.
She's got a wrench.
And there's so many of you also that I would love to turn into mods as well. But I mean, it's only something out of necessity.
Right.
I'm not into, I don't know, just throwing out because people want it. I love you all. You all are amazing, and you all have been an amazing part of the show. And I'm sure we'll need more mods in the near future. But for now, I'm just extending it by one.
Yes.
So
we need some help.
We need help. I can't watch the chats on Fridays. It's just too hard, and I need someone to to have a little bit of authority in there on the Friday nights and help me manage the flow. So Pixie's been
it's a big responsibility, Pix.
a long time friend of the show.
Gonna have to be here every Friday night.
Since way before we even started streaming. Pixie's been around and been a part of the show, and so that was why I gave her a wrench. So thank you, Pixie. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Just don't throw wrenches in the works.
You and Don can throw wrenches at each other. That's fine.
That may end up happening.
It may. But welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are. Awesome. It is Wednesday. It's Hump Day's Eve.
Hump Day.
You have made it through the hard part of the week, hopefully. I hope the hard part's behind you. I hope the rest of it's just a walk in the park. And is that true, Don? Is this the daylight savings weekend?
You know, I forgot to look it up, but I can't.
Okay.
For some reason, I can't believe it'll be this coming Sunday. It's got to be the Sunday after, because the 20th or the 21st is equinox.
Okay.
Right? Fall equinox, right?
Right, I guess.
So, yeah, I mean, it would make sense that next Sunday.
Okay, well, just be aware, ladies and gentlemen. I saw the first notice of it on Facebook, and it's like, God, can it be that time already? And I know I've felt the change in the air so much this last week. Yeah. It's just like somebody just hit the fall switch. It's like, seriously, oh, my God. But the good news is we're getting rain here in the inland Pacific Northwest, and we were desperately needing it with all the wildfires going on. So
definitely
things are improving here in the inland Pacific Northwest. I don't know why they have to say inland. It's just Pacific Northwest, right?
No, because Pacific Northwest is Washington, Oregon, and top California.
Well, I know it's the whatever's on the Pacific. But we're close. You can nearly throw a rock and hit it.
Yeah, if you can throw about 850 miles.
Yeah, well, on a good day, I get about 830 normally.
Man, when I tee off, you'd never believe my yardage.
Oh, yeah. I used to golf. That's funny you say that. I had a lot of fun doing it.
I used to golf, too, in between beers.
I think well, I don't know what to say to that. That's good.
It's true.
Okay,
I had a handicap of 115.
What does that mean? Is that a joke?
Yeah, well, pretty much.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
my golfing's a joke. That's exactly right.
All right. I don't know enough about. I knew I had to hit the ball in the hole, and I was okay at it. I actually did pretty well, but I never did pursue it enough to like get my own clubs and get all serious about it. Well, but I appreciate that some people just love golf, and then it's pretty relaxing.
Well, you're like one under par. You got a birdie, you got a bogey, got an eagle, that kind of thing. So if I have a handicap of 115, that means I already start 115 points ahead. So I'm actually see.
So you go out there with a pool cue and win. In other words, right?
Exactly. I could go out with a croquet set and win.
That's awesome. All right, I get
watch
it.
This.
I get it. I didn't know all the nuances of it. I just knew I had to get that little ball in the hole.
There you go.
That's all I can tell you.
Leaving that one there.
Leaving it lay right there because it's gonna
go.
It's gonna go wrong. All of
Oh boy.
Oh my God.
Oh goodness. So but it's let me look it up because we were talking about daylight savings time.
Yeah, if you do, if any of you out there can let us know, is this weekend the turn your clocks ahead, fall back. It's fall back, right? Spring forward, fall back. So
Sunday,
back an hour.
November 4th, it says.
Oh, well,
that's still another 2 weeks away.
Okay, well,
that's actually 3 weeks away.
Somebody's having a little fun on Facebook then. And it's funny because I'm like, oh, really?
You better
really?
check that out first.
Yeah,
buddy.
well, I am vetting it at least. Give me a little credit. I am vetting this stuff.
Yes. I mean, the second Sunday in March and the first Sunday in November.
Right. Right, exactly. Oh, Paranormal PWI. How you doing? I don't remember seeing you before, but welcome to the show. We're glad you're here. Mm-hmm. And they're talking about burning sage. Burn sage. Amen. That's a good way to cleanse. Good way to get rid of some negativity. But tonight's show is going to be about premonitions and the paranormal. And by that, what we're talking about essentially by premonitions is people getting foreshadowings or hints of upcoming stuff, and whether it be through prophetic dreams, whether it be through an apparition coming and saying, hey, look out, or just bad feelings, or some kind of inkling that something's not right, visions, or any other means, whether it may be by psychic knowledge.
Right.
So any of these are premonitions, and of course, the fact that they happen, and they do happen, I've had premonitions on many occasions, and they are very, very profound things. And what it demonstrates to me is several things. But first of all, it demonstrates that we are not nearly in touch with what we're capable of. We are not nearly working at our potential. We are, it's showing that we have an awareness that transcends the physical, that transcends the linear time as we understand it, and we have the ability to sense the vibration of manifestation. In other words, that we have these abilities. Now, not everybody has them, and it's not everybody has the potential, but not everybody is cued in enough to get those kind of hints or those tips.
You mean like me?
Well, I don't know. Have you never had a bad feeling like, oh, this is going to go all wrong, and then it does?
Don't eat that sushi, Don. Sorry, but
I got a bad feeling about this gas station sushi.
We talked about that the other day because we were talking about walking into forests or woods and saying,
Right.
I got a bad feeling about this one. You know, so yeah, I mean, like I said, I do, but I don't know if I would attribute that to anything too over the top paranormal. So, but
Right. Oh, well, I mean, I think that everybody has probably had that inkling on some level throughout their lives. And what is going on at those times? Well, most often it's when, what I found is it's when I'm in my most relaxed states and then I get these feelings, like, And unfortunately, when a lot of times, I've had some times where I've just got this vision of something going to happen.
Right.
And so I change my circumstances and boom, what I thought was going to happen happens in front of me. And that has happened a few times now, but most often what I get is this really crappy feeling like, something's about to go to hell. And I don't know what it is. And that's the frustrating part is it's like knowing that something's going to come and poop in the bed, but you don't know what or where or when. It's just something's coming and it's going to suck, And so that's normally the kind of premonitions that I get. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm grateful that I get them because it gives me a chance to brace, think through possibilities, think through, what do I have to do or what am I able to do at least to brace for several different circumstances. And it saved me a lot of grief and heartache in the long run, but it is mind-numbingly agonizing to feel something coming and not have the ability to stop it from coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I still am grateful that I have them, but it's almost like being tormented. Sometimes it's you think, God, it'd just be nice if it just happened instead of having to feel it coming for a week. Does that resonate at all with you, Don?
But yeah, it does. Okay, but when I look at that and I think I'm going to have something's going to happen,
mm-hmm.
I think and I say my way into the future. It's like getting sick.
Sure.
Well, I know I'm going to get sick, but I don't ever say that. I say I'm not going to get sick. It's not going to happen. Sometimes it's just pure hard-headedness and I get sick anyhow.
Right.
But, I change the way I view things because
mm-hmm.
I believe the way I view things, as we say, we speak power into it. We speak energy into that.
There is
the
that
frequency. And once you say it, then that's going to happen.
Then it manifests.
Right.
Right. And that's true too. That's
where I'm going with that is, if I feel something, I just put it out and I say, no, it's not going to happen. It's just
mm-hmm.
not going to happen. And, sometimes I'm wrong, but,
right.
I think it's just the power of my will.
And that's
to overcome it. Let me say that.
And that's kind of where I was going with it. So that's actually a perfect segue because I think that when we have those feelings, in many cases, we do have an ability to change the vibration. Maybe we can change it a little bit so that something horrendous coming is just something inconvenient. And, and by changing your vibration after you sense that coming, you're able to change the magnitude of it or diffuse it by focusing. Like, for instance, you're saying, gosh, and I've had that happen too, where it's like, oh my God, you just get that one feeling in your nose and like, oh God, I'm getting sick.
Yeah. And if you say it, you just got sick.
Well, but what I've found is that it's like, I can say, no, I'm not. No, I'm
Uh-huh.
not going to get sick. I'm
Right.
not going to let this happen. I'm not going to let this manifest. And so I start changing that energy and
Right.
focusing on myself being healthy and manifesting that in myself. And, many times I've been able to successfully do that.
Right.
Sometimes you're right. You just can't. And I think that things like illness, in terms of like the colds and the flus and stuff, are actually, just natural cycles that our body needs to cleanse. It needs to refresh. And,
True,
and as
yeah.
much
True.
not fun as they are,
It's got to happen.
they're necessary because
Right.
we need to purge crap out. Fevers help us purge stuff out. Runny noses and stuff help us cleanse and purify. And so I think they are natural functions of being a biological form.
Right.
But I think that we do have the ability to turn them off to a degree.
I certainly hope so.
Yeah. Well, you said though that you were able to turn it off. Yeah.
And I, like I said though, sometimes it happens and sometimes it just doesn't. But you're right. Maybe it's just the body needs to do that. you know?
Right.
It's like just like the flight or fear reaction. Flight or
Flight or fight.
yes, that's it.
Yep.
Fight
or flight.
the
flight or
very
fight.
base emotion for
Right.
us.
Right.
And you either that or yeah.
So that's kind of the focus tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I would like to say, just as a side note, and this is something that I believe we're going to be looking into, and I have to do a lot more discussing. First of all, let me say that on Friday night we're going to be having, we're going to have a special guest on, and I got to get this up so I don't mispronounce anything or say it wrong, because she's an amazing person and somebody that I've been really enjoying her work and her page, and she's done a great job. And her name is Lisa Martin, and she runs the website Paranormal Science Lab, and it's an amazing site. And she does a great job of putting up material, putting up thought-provoking articles or videos or historical accounts of things that have happened. She does just a phenomenal job, and so Lisa Martin's going to be on the show on Friday night, ladies and gentlemen, to discuss her background, and they do a lot of researching too. They do a ton of field work, and she's an author. They've been on several television shows, such as Strange World out of Europe and Monsters and Mysteries in America and Ghost Hunters. So just a great background. Your mic is dead again, by the way.
Yes, it is.
Yep. So I muted you.
Well, unmute me.
Okay. Yep.
Because
Yep,
it's
there you
just
go.
me picking up the microphone. I'm not unplugging. I'm not doing anything. Just picking it up.
Huh,
And
that's
it's
so
worked the
strange.
last couple times. So I
You've
don't.
got a strange charge,
It's
Mr.
yeah. It's got to
Beard.
be yeah. It's got to be the
It's the
static
beard.
electricity.
You're
from the beard,
grounding
like
it.
was- yeah, you're grounding it. Your grounded microphone.
You're grounding it
Stop
with your
doing
fingers. So yeah, Lisa Martin's going to be on the show, and that'll be a great. I'm really looking forward to that because she's definitely been out there. She's got several books out there. Let's see, Civil War Ghosts in Southern Missouri that was published in 2011 from the History Press. Haunted Joplin, and this is Missouri, of course,
Yeah.
from 2012, and that's for the History Press as well. Missouri's Wicked Route 66, Gangsters and Outlaws on the Mother Road, 2013 History Press, and Haunted Carthage, Missouri, 2013 the History Press. So this woman has done the legwork.
Right.
She's also an attorney, so I mean, it's really awesome. You know?
Wow.
I just
Yeah.
love that because she's, it just shows the diversity of, she's got a very obviously
Wide range.
a broad spectrum,
Broad
of intelligence and ability. So that's going to be a lot of fun to have her on the show. So that'll be coming up this Friday. And the other thing I was going to mention is that I had just cleansed a house just a week ago, and I talked to the homeowner, and they said, "Man, it's gotten worse." Now I had mentioned this on the show last weekend, I guess. I think it was a week ago. I said, Sage, it might have been 2 weeks ago, but I don't know. The time to me gets really, really relative. So
it's
whenever I talked about it on the show was right after it happened, and,
Right.
I talked to him. And he said, yeah, it's gotten worse. And now I need to say that first of all, when I cleanse, I don't cleanse the presence of everything out. I don't say, if you're a ghost and you're here or a spiritual presence of any kind, you have to leave. It's always the caveat that I cleanse the negative, I cleanse the evil, I cleanse the malice and the malicious, and if it's loving and supportive and living in harmony with the space, they're welcome to stay, and that's always my intention. So I have to assume I'm assuming at this point that whatever has remained is not malicious. It's just something saying, I'm here, I've been here for a long time, you're not kicking me out, this is my home.
Right.
It seems to be a pretty powerful thing. Now, I went over there today again, and he told me about the shadows that he's seen, and he had a cup move, and it was just really intense. And while I was there, I went and stood in the corner where he's seen the shadows, and I got the cold air, I got the chills all over my body. My arm hair started standing up, and I was like, oh, God, I can feel that. So I'm going to see about us doing an investigation over there, Don.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to go. We could take that, like I mentioned earlier, that we could take the test the spirit radio.
Yeah, we could do that test for EMF, get some EVPs, get some video, and get some photos.
You should be having him turn on his recorder anyhow.
Well,
just to
it's a potential. But I would rather that we made sure that it was all done without any, risk of contaminations and stuff.
Gotcha.
And so I definitely want to follow a protocol with this and make sure it's done right, because I want to present it on the show as well, if that's possible.
Oh,
but just really cool.
Oh yeah, well no, we could do it anonymously. I mean, we could certainly present it on the show.
Yeah, of course.
Do a live stream from there too.
That might be actually epic. That's a really good.
That would be epic.
That would be a lot of work though, because I'd have to tear down the studio and bring it with, and then
I've got my portable studio.
You do, but that'll only allow one mic line, won't it?
Well, that's true. I mean, yeah, okay.
So
it
we
only
have
allows
to.
one, but
hey, what's up, Don?
We used to do
like
in the
we
old
used
days.
to do in the old studio. Yeah, that's right.
As you hear this noise.
Yeah, you get this little squeaky swinging going on.
It's not doing it now.
Yeah, I know. Just when you want it to, it doesn't do it.
It's like
yeah.
It sounds like that.
So that's the way we used to do the show back when we were totally just.
I was new to the show. He was doing it already for a year.
Well, yeah, but I only needed one mic then.
Yeah, exactly. Then we had to grow up and get two mics.
Yeah, and my hat's always
two
off.
MCs on the mic.
My eternal gratitude for Chris Gio,
yes, absolutely,
who made so much of this possible and has helped me tremendously, not only with giving us a home on TFR, but just he's helped. That introductory segment of every YouTube video is his work. I mean, this is something that he threw together. It's just brilliant.
Well, and mix that with POL.
Huh?
Because our frames are made by POL.
Well, yeah. What?
Oh, you're talking specifically about the intro. Never mind.
Yeah, the video.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm talking about that. But yeah, Nick Zervos did all of our frames on the background and stuff that you're seeing on YouTube as well. So a lot of people, of course, have really come together to make the portal amazing. But Chris is I mean, he's just enabled us to do some amazing things, and he's helped us with equipment and everything. So just always always would be eternally grateful to him and Cherie and TFR and all the hosts there. So I don't know why we went that direction, but I'm always glad to.
Because we were talking about my board not being big enough.
Right, yeah, exactly. And that was of course my first board, but I got a second one that has a lot of channels on it.
Yes, it does.
So it's possible that we could tear it down and move it over. My wife would probably be plenty happy because it forced me to clean up my studio.
It's your studio.
She comes in here every once in a while and goes, "Oh my God, this is getting to be a mess."
Nobody goes in my studio.
Well, that's good for
you. How much time we got left in the first segment? Oh wait, this is Wednesday.
We don't have breaks.
Oh my gosh,
this is us winging it. Yeah.
See, now I'm lost.
Oh, well, you're always lost.
I'm watching a clock, and I don't have to.
Don't need to, brother. We're just freestyling tonight. So anyway, that's going to be the show. But I just wanted to bring up those two other things because I think that they're, of course, Friday's show is going to be exciting, and it is paranormal. The events going on at that home, and so I'll see what we can throw together about getting over there and doing some investigating.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we will continue with our show tonight about premonitions and the paranormal. Again, now I do want to say, as we were talking about forebodings and stuff and visions and such, I've put a lot of thought into this. It's like, first of all, as I was saying before, it shows us we're not living at our potential. We've demonstrated that we're not living at our potential because these things are out there. And they're not just, again, the paranormal is not just the glitch of reality. It's not just a hiccup where things just went quickly sideways and then they're normal again. It's breadcrumbs. It's the whole picture peeking through. And so the other thing that it demonstrates is that time doesn't necessarily, linear. It's not linear. It's not just this, then this, then this, then this. It's showing us that events are happening. The past, the present, the future are all, in this one big moment. And those other parts of this one big moment can peek through to us on some level. And so I think that that's incredibly profound. Mm-hmm. Now, why does it just peek through? Why can't we do this all the time? Well, I think it's showing us what we can grow into. And I alluded to this earlier that I've tried to pay attention to when these things have come. And usually they happen when I'm in my most relaxed, almost meditative states. It doesn't mean that I'm sitting around in the lotus position, humming in Om Mani Padme Hum. It's just that whatever I'm doing, I'm in such a relaxed focus with it that other things start peeking through. And I think that is the key. And I think that demonstrates how to develop the ability further. And again, I think we all have it. Now, why doesn't it happen to everybody? Well, if it has to do with focus, if it is totally dependent upon a person's ability to be in that relaxed state, some people don't relax real well. Mm-hmm. In fact, most of us don't. In fact, if you look at our modern life, we're not encouraged to relax. Right. We're encouraged to work so we can buy, work so you can consume, work so you can work harder so you can have more stuff and more things to make you feel well, rather than getting back into balance with yourself, with nature, with your surroundings, with your family, and all of those things that are truly important. So I think that those are the keys, but we're going to get into this a little more with some of these stories we're going to get into tonight. And, of course, again, the premonitions can come in many ways, whether, again, dreams, visions, emotion, visitations. Some are ghostly visitations. Some are just some manifestation somehow. And so we're going to get into some of these tonight and see what you guys think of this whole thing. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Unfortunately, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, you can't call in. There's no phone line available to us on the portal here tonight, so it's just us talking. But if you've got something to say, please let Don know in the chat room, and I will keep an eye on it as much as I can as well. But let's get into these stories and see what you guys think. Let's get into it. So, I don't know why I pulled up this one. This one's really not where I was going to go with this. All right, let's see. First of all, this is a real quick one. It's spontaneous prediction of the future. And this comes from 2006 from Pennsylvania. I have dozens of psychic experiences, but the one that stands out in my mind is one of the knowing the future while in 6th grade. I woke up that morning like any other morning, and I had this odd song in my mind, the Lollipop song. Oh, gosh. I sang this song pretty much all day and later in the day. And later in the day, I watched a video in class that contained the same song throughout the entire video. The odd part is that I was experimenting with hypnosis tapes and subliminal message tapes for psychic experiences, and I hadn't thought of that specific song for years. So they heard the song, they woke up singing the song, and it wasn't until later. But in 6th grade, they were experimenting with subliminal message tapes and hypnosis? Is that what you're taking from this?
I don't exactly know.
That is really weird. That's a pretty precocious 6th grader, yes, is all I'm saying. That's a pretty early age to be digging into
paranormal,
subliminal messaging and hypnosis in order to get premonitions. Wow. Uh-huh. That sounds like some kind of like Nikola Tesla kind of thing.
Or
Mozart or something.
Or just an idiot savant.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. Yeah. Hey,
Or savant.
what happens if I
Sorry,
lick this plug?
savant.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's a 9-volt battery.
Oh God, I always test them that way though. Even
Sparkling.
still,
Book.
don't you?
Book. No.
I lick those things all the time. Like,
Yeah.
is this any good? Yep.
No.
I do. That's the only way I know that they're
Oh,
good.
Goodness.
How do you test them?
Actually, if you take a battery and you drop it on its end, and if it bounces high, it's still good. If it just kind of bounces and falls over, it's bad. Did you know that?
No.
Okay, there you go.
What the hell are you talking about? What?
Literally, if you take a battery,
Like a double A.
double A, yeah, you drop it on its little pin on the top,
Okay.
its positive end.
Right.
If it bounces, it's still good. Seriously.
You're probably right. I just never heard this.
I know I am.
You guys in the chat room heard about this
You're
before?
doubting the dawn.
Well, I'm doubting the beard.
MCAT says you use a voltmeter.
Well,
Well, yeah.
with a voltmeter. Of course you would, MCAT. You're a
You're
very
a professional.
methodical person. Yeah, he's a pro. I always look. Yep, it's good. Or, nope, I can lick it. Nothing. I always test them that way.
No, I haven't done that since I was like 6.
What about 9 volts? What the hell do you do with 9 volts then?
You can do the same thing with a 9-volt.
So you bounce them on the pins, and if
Bounce it on the pins. If it bounces up,
wow,
or if it just hits and falls over, really, it's true.
no kidding.
Just don't do it. Do it on a solid area, not like this table,
Yeah,
because
okay.
it's a Hologor table. It's
Well,
going to
yeah,
bounce
yeah,
anyhow.
yeah.
But yeah. Ooh.
Well, there you go.
Wow.
So if you can bounce batteries or you can lick them. I always lick the damn things. It doesn't work with double A's though. It only works with 9 volts,
That's
right?
true. That's true.
Yeah.
But you remember when one of those companies, you put your finger on the positive end, the finger on the other end.
Yeah,
you
it's
kinda
got that
squeeze,
built-in
it's got the
strip.
little-
Yeah, it's Duracell or something. Yeah.
Whatever.
But yeah, I don't know.
Beer.
All right, yeah, Ken's bottling beer, so he's all set.
It's good to go.
Beer. Oh, I love you guys.
Doc says I like the taste when you lick them.
High five, Doc.
Sparkly. Hey, you know what you can do is if you got fillings, you can just put it back there.
Oh God, you're mean.
I know.
You have a dark side, don't you? Yeah, you can go ahead and test them on your fillings. I'll just lick them. But anyway.
Wow, we are so off.
Well, this is the portal. This is, that I always say,
goodness.
and I say this to guests before I have them on too. It's like, look, I don't want to schedule this. I don't want to encapsulate it in here's the questions, now give me some answers. I like it to be a discussion. Wherever it goes, it goes. We do usually center on the paranormal, but sometimes you are paranormal, Don. So it's absolutely weird to hear some of the things that you do. Now, if that's actually true, that's awesome. I just never heard about bouncing a battery.
Yeah, Ruthie C says, hi, everyone. It works. I dropped my dead battery and it flipped. The good one lifted. Yeah, so there you go.
Well, there you
yeah.
go. Thank you.
Yeah, see?
There you go. So, but it sounds like Ruthie just tested this theory now.
She might have.
Yeah. Good job, Ruthie. Thank you for validating that.
Somebody's got to do the field work. Oh, no, my mic's still good.
No, you're good.
I thought I heard it go. Psst.
It's that static from the beard.
Oh, the beard. Yeah. I might want to get like a little copper thing that'll ground it out on my chest.
Yeah, I'm
or
gonna have to.
something.
Yeah, put an alligator clip to the leg of your chair and you clip your
See,
beard
there it
on.
went again. See, it's cutting
Yep.
out. Now it's back again. Oh, geez, I don't know what's going on.
Well, if you put it up somewhere near your mouth, it might help too. But
Well, it is. It's
nowhere near your mouth. You might as
Because
well
then
be
you-
in the.
because
well
then
be
you
in the-
say I breathe in the mic.
Well, that's true too. That's the whistling nostril's never a good thing, but
No, you said it a long time ago. I can hear you I can hear you breathing, dude.
yeah, you did that too. You
was
were
like-
you were like loud breathing one night. That's true.
Braid the beard with the copper end. Thank you, Julia.
That could be the new thing, the long beard wrap. It's
Long
just
beard wrap.
to discharge the static charge in your beard.
Be just like Dawn.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's a scary thought.
All right.
Wow.
So the next story
Yeah, stories.
is, let me close this one.
Oh, goodness.
Is dreaming the future.
Oh.
It's weird, but ever since I was young, I could dream things and they would come true. Some take some interpretation, and some are out and out slap you in the face. But in most, I'm able to predict an event before it happens. Sometimes I look back and think, that's what it meant. But a lot of the time I can tell you what's up before it goes down. And it's even more important, Don.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't say
What?
anything.
You know you didn't. That's true. And it's not even important stuff. Most of the time it's goofy. I'm not sure what triggers it or why, but here are the 3 of my best. Number 1, in high school, I had 3 friends I hung out with all of the time. Christy, Rachel, and Corey. I dreamed that the 3 of us went to Rachel's dad's house, which we had never been to, just her mom's, and we had to help her get ready for her dad's wedding. Just a normal, boring dream, but I came to school the next day and asked her if her dad was getting married, and she replied that he wasn't, to her knowledge, and we didn't think anything else of it until, you guessed it, about a week to 2 weeks later, she comes in, my dad's getting married, and you knew about it before I did. I'd never even met the guy. Number 2, the second involved a friend of mine I had in college. I kept having dreams about him, and in all of them, he needed to talk to me. I hadn't seen him in maybe 4 years. Finally, I dreamed we were shopping in linens and things, and he was there in his scrubs, he was a nurse, piling his cart way up with stuff. I kept trying to talk to him, but he kept telling me he was too busy. When I woke up, it really bugged me, and I kept trying to figure out why he was working at linens and things. I finally figured out that he couldn't have been working there because he was wearing his scrubs, so he must have been shopping. And the only reason I could think that he had that much stuff was that if he was registering. I checked into the LNT website, and sure enough, there he was, getting married in about 6 months. The dream stopped shortly after that. Finally, and this is a long one of the above-mentioned friends that I had a spat and hadn't spoken in some time. She was dating another friend of ours, and I had worked at his catering center with him, his mom, and his dad. And about the same time, I was diagnosed with lymphoma. His dad was also, except his was non-Hodgkin's, not the good kind. So in the dream, I show up for work at the catering center, and everyone is there, including my old friend, except the dad. I keep trying to find him to figure out what I should be doing that day, but no one can tell me where he is. I keep looking, and in the process, the friend who had her knickers in a twist approached me and kept telling me how it was all a mistake, and that there was actually no problem. That's odd, I thought in the dream, and kept looking for the dad. By the end of the dream, I realized that the dad had been killed by a monster at the center, and I woke up. The next day, he succumbed to the cancer, the monster. And at the funeral, the scene between me and the previously peeved old friend played out pretty much exactly as in the dream. That's pretty powerful.
Wow.
That's amazingly powerful, right?
Yeah, it's kind of, gosh darn it.
Where are you, Don?
No, oh, see?
It was either Don or gas.
No, I'm just,
All right, give it a shot. Unplug it and replug it.
I am unlucky loud. Okay, go ahead.
All right, you ready?
Check.
Yep, there you are.
Check. Beard check.
Yep,
Okay.
you're good. All right, so
All right, hey.
so yeah, that's a pretty incredible thing. Now, I can tell you that many times I've had dreams and I'm looking for someone and can't find them.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's I'm looking for something and can't find it. So I wonder if that's an idea that you're going to lose something. Is that's the way that turns out? Is that if you can't find something, are you going to lose it? No, I hope not. I don't know. I can't remember my dreams usually very well anyway. I remember a few of them, and some of them are just so goofy that I can never make any kind of sense out of them.
Right.
But I don't know. Do you remember your dreams, Don?
Not usually. I've been actually sleeping a lot more lately.
You
though.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Me too, dude. I haven't slept good in years.
Yeah. And
Last 3 nights, I've been like a stone.
It might be because it's raining.
It could be.
And
Maybe that's it.
because I'm from Seattle, we're used to it. So, when it's not raining, I'm like, oh, what's wrong? I can't sleep.
Yeah.
But the first night it rained, I slept like a rock.
Wow.
But since we've gone to the 7:00 slot,
It helps.
oh my goodness, yeah.
Good.
So, hopefully that'll open me up to leveling out again and being able to interact with my dreams again, because I've kind of done that before. We've talked about my flying dreams and
Sure,
being
right.
chased by like the Godzilla thing a couple times or whatever. Not Godzilla, but King Kong.
King Kong. Yeah, that would
Right.
suck.
Yeah,
That was a
yeah, it
premonition
sucked
of
really
your
bad.
Bigfooting.
Yes. Oh. But I would rather be chasing after Bigfoot instead of Bigfoot chasing me.
I'm telling you.
But anyhow,
They-
so maybe, hopefully, that'll open some of those, things up again.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hope so too. I just know I've been sleeping a whole lot better too, and I wasn't really sure what to attribute it to. It's just one of those things. It's the gift horse, so I'm not going to look it in the mouth. It's like, oh my God, I slept really good.
Yeah, Dee says use CBD oil, and I have found that if I
Yeah.
use Iolife,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Iolife's really the only one I've used. I got to tell you, but I tell you, when I first took Iolife, and this is not a commercial for them, but it's just a fact, it's testimonial. I did sleep pretty darn good.
Right.
Now, if I take it now and I have this leveled out, I wonder if I'll sleep really well.
Right. No,
I need to
I've
get some more.
I've been using iLife for a while, and it is amazing. You're right. So if you too now here's the deal. It's not the normal CBD oil. It's actually a melding of CBD and the B-cappy from the ayahuasca.
like an Aya infusion
So it's,
tincture,
but it's not the psychoactive
Right,
ayahuasca.
right.
It's just the
B-cappy.
yeah, it's B-cappy, which is it just kind of it's a very natural grounding, and I can tell you that when I use the iLife, it definitely is very, very powerful, but not in a trippy way. Just like I just feel really centered is the best way I can say it. It just makes me feel like I'm more where I need to be rather than all over the place,
Right.
and so it just really does a great job. So if you too would like to try it out, please go to ialife.com and check it out. It's an amazing tincture, and it's every bit worth the investment.
So let Chris know that we pitched his his CBD oil.
Well, I mean that's and ladies and gentlemen, it is developed by Chris and Cherie
Yeah.
Geo, and
But-
it is theirs, and
yeah.
so but we are not. I mean, we're not paid advertisers in any way. It's just a really good
Maybe
product.
he should be our first sponsor.
Yeah. Hey, welcome to the portal, sponsored by iLife. Go to www.ialife.com. So yeah, it's
That's
really good
sexy
stuff, though,
noise.
ladies and gentlemen. So if you're looking into trying out the CBD oil, definitely check it out,
Wow.
and you'll love it. So that is kind of a segue, but it's a good one. So where are we now? Let's see what the next one is.
How about Did You Dream of Blood?
Is that a story you
That's a
got?
story I got.
Well, why don't you tell us?
All right. Well, this is a few years back. I had an incredibly intense, messed up dream, and I won't go into details about it because I feel uncomfortable, especially because, wow, this is like a giant run-on sentence. Because I feel uncomfortable, especially because of what happened afterwards, I feel superstitious about describing it. Anyway, I woke up from this dream crying because of the despair I had felt over what had happened in my dream, and that is something that has happened only twice in my life. Although the first time I woke up crying from a dream, it was the fear that caused it. This was despair, and something prompted me to call my family members to see if they were okay. When I got hold of my dad, I was on the edge of panic, which I couldn't understand, and I was scaring myself. My dad was scared too, and he asked me what was wrong. I told him about the horrific dream and the bad feeling in the pit of my stomach. He got really quiet and asked me to repeat some of the details of my dream. My father is Arabic, and there is some old Middle Eastern superstitions he believes. He asked me whether I saw blood amongst the brutality of my dream. I described to him. I could hear the fear in his voice, and I calmed myself down and embarrassed that a dream drove me to do much panic. He told me seeing blood is a good sign because it's an old superstition. He said that seeing blood is a good thing, and despite the brutal things I saw, it's a sign of life. Okay. I could hear in his voice how on edge he sounded. My hysteria, and when I initially called him, didn't help matters. Feeling silly for how I acted and wanted to reassure him, I told him I did in fact see blood, and he sounded relieved and just told me not to worry. The problem is, I didn't see blood. There was no blood anywhere. All the horrific stuff and no blood, which according to superstition is a very bad sign. For the record, I'm a very rational person and not someone who believes in dream omens and that kind of stuff. Minutes after I was done, I get a call. It's my sister, and she's crying hysterically, asking if my dad was okay. She had a horrible dream about him. Side note, my sister is living apart from the family and estranged from my father. Hearing my sister in this state, I started to panic again. I asked her what she'd been talking about. Did she call Dad? She tells me no, she just woke up from a horrible dream about him. My sister has never called me this way before. We're panicking for a good 2 hours because my dad wasn't answering. A few hours after initially calling him, the police call my house to tell us that my dad was in an accident. He was in critical condition in the hospital, and the person in the passenger seat didn't survive. I break down hysterical again because it feels like I knew this was going to happen, and I lied to him about the blood. I got to the hospital, and we got to see him a few days later. The first thing he says to me was, "Your dream," and he starts crying, and I'm crying too. I saved the news clippings from the accident, but I won't post them here because I'd rather not reveal my name. It was the single weirdest, creepiest thing ever happened to me, and this has never been something I could explain. So wow, okay, so there wasn't any blood in the dream, and blood in a dream is a sign of life according to their superstitions. So therefore, it's a good thing. But he lied; there was no blood, and apparently the dream was about his dad being in an accident or something, something happening to his dad. Just crazy.
That is.
And then his sister having a very similar dream. So wow,
very powerful.
yeah,
Very, very powerful. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are some great examples of dream premonitions.
right.
What are they? What happens in dreams? Now, Edgar Cayce, of course, was well-renowned visionary of dream prophecy, and there have been others as well. And I don't know. Is it just a person's ability to interpret what they're dreaming?
Right.
Is that the key to or what? But didn't Edgar Cayce just start speaking while he was asleep though, and somebody would transcribe what he said?
I believe that is true.
The sleeping prophet. Yeah,
Yes.
I believe like he would fall asleep and somebody and he would start talking and people start writing down.
Well, he'd go into this trancy type sleep.
Okay. So it was a very
it was
directed.
kind of a guided, yeah.
Okay,
He'd
gotcha.
guide himself into this sleep.
Huh. Yeah, really pretty cool. I don't know. Do we touch on the other world when we're in our dreams?
I think it's possible.
Yeah, I think so too. And that's incredibly exciting. But at the same time, with a situation like that, what do you do?
Yeah.
Is knowing the gift, or is there something better or bigger that can be done? Are we just starting to understand this so that we will be able to change it? I don't know. Because the thing is that I truly believe we manifest reality on a very, very fundamental level. And, so if we get these premonitions of a reality that is manifesting with enough understanding and training and work developing this, can we at will deprogram these events from coming to pass at all? We talked about, of course, turning things around and maybe buffering, changing the energy, and
speaking our futures.
Right, exactly. So, is that what we really need to focus on then? Is that I don't think anybody's arguing the fact that prophetic dreams are possible, but knowing is part of it. And like a G.I. Joe, knowing is half the battle. But is that half the story?
Right.
Is the other half changing it?
Right.
And that's the question. That's the key. Is that the next development that becomes the second step of the puzzle? Can we learn to deprogram these events completely and making them positive? Maybe we can. I think we can. I think that there's something to that. I don't know, but it's all ideas and theory. Unfortunately, none of us know for sure. So the next one I want to read you is seeing the future without actually seeing it. Sorry, man, I got to blow my nose. Did you got another story?
Yeah, I got another story. Of course I do.
Could you go ahead and take that?
Yeah, no problem. So
seriously.
apparently, let's see here. Here I got a couple short ones, so I'll do a couple of these. Maggie, you have to wake up. This is my friend's story. She was sleeping in on Halloween morning. She was having a vivid dream that she was having an out-of-body experience. Now that's interesting. Was she having a vivid dream or was she having an out-of-body experience? Floating above herself, she was trying to everything to wake herself up. She was screaming, we'll say, Maggie, Maggie, wake up. You have to wake up right now. You have to buy the kids Halloween candy. Getting up early, especially on the weekend morning, was extremely out of character for Maggie. She woke up in a panic sweat, throws on some clothes, and leaves in a hurry because some reason getting Halloween candy is super important right now. Once she comes back, she opens the door and is hit immediately by a strong scent of gas. Her roommate accidentally left the gas stove on, and gas had been filling up the entire house. She believes, as I do, in some unconscious last-ditch effort to save herself, she had an out-of-body dream to wake herself and leave the house. Yeah, because just the breathing of those fumes would kill her. So, yeah, no doubt. The next one, she's dead. I had a patient one night who was mentally disabled. I guess technically that's called intellectually disabled now. She was a young, dark-skinned black woman with these huge eyes. I don't know if she always looked that way or if she was just genuinely spooked, but they were wide open. The first thing she said when I walked into the room was, "She's dead. That lady's dead," nodding her head at a woman in the next bed. The woman in the bed had apparently been dealing with this all day and was fed up. "I'm not dead," she yelled. I tried to calm her down to no avail. The day shift nurse told me she'd been doing that all day, and I felt so bad for her roommate. I considered trying to transfer her, but that would just put in somebody else's room to put up with. She did this all night. She would even put her call light on to tell me her roommate was dead. So this was creepy on its own, but guess who died the next day? It wasn't an expected death either. I don't believe in the supernatural, but damn, this was quite a coincidence.
Wow. This is creepy.
You know, but what was the lady that's saying she was dead? What was her? Did she have some kind of mental thing going on, or was it a prophetic dream or a vision or something, or was she like just out of her wits and projecting? You know,
I don't know.
Who knows? That's crazy.
That is, and when you talk about speaking in reality.
Yeah, there's a reality you want to shut up about.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing was that
Yeah.
her repeating that over and over, creating that reality
And solidifying it, yeah.
And did it become a reality in her roommate's head? Then it's like, oh my God, maybe I am dying. There's a story that's, and I don't know whether it's true or not, but there's a story that went around years ago about this. I don't know if he was a professor or something, but his colleagues, his wife, and everybody else was in on it, and they decided to play a prank on him. And basically, they decided that during the day, throughout that whole day, they were convinced him that he looked terrible, and that was something wrong. And so that was the whole deal. And it was supposed to be a joke. Now, this is completely apocryphal. I have no idea to know if it actually happened or not, but the story goes that he woke up in the morning and his wife said, "My God, what's wrong? You look terrible." He's like, "I'm not terrible. I'm doing great, thanks. But, I'm just going to have my coffee and get ready for work." And she kept saying, "Boy, you don't look so good." And so he finished his coffee, got ready for work, and went off to, allegedly a university or whatever. So he goes there, and there's key people on the way that are saying, "Wow, what's wrong? You don't look right. Something looks terribly wrong. Are you sure you're okay?" And as the day progresses, the guy keeps getting bombarded with this, and he starts manifesting it. And soon, as the day progressed, he got worse and worse, and he was, started doing really bad. And by the end of the day, he dropped dead.
Oh, jeez.
Because he believed that something was wrong. It's like, wow, good joke.
Yeah.
Whoa, how do you follow that one? It's like, oh,
what do you do for an encore? Get up and do it again?
Yeah, well, that's just weird, though. So is that possible? Is it possible to program somebody to believing that something is seriously wrong?
Wow, that'd be quite the assassination method now, wouldn't it?
Right, yeah, if you just program them into believing there was something wrong. And so they just start accepting it at some point from so many different sources. Does it manifest then?
Right.
So
Wow.
I don't
Here's
know.
all these negative waves. Die.
Yeah, exactly. It's you know, it essentially becomes a spell at that point.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Because you're manifesting this
Yeah.
energy in that
And,
person.
How many people were there? Were there 13 people or
You know,
more? Or
I don't know.
You know, I mean, come
Right.
on. Does it take a coven?
No.
You know.
Right.
I mean, you know, it's one thing to curse somebody. It's something else to curse them to death. You know.
Right. Well,
Wow.
that's just it. So.
You need a hagstone.
Right. Right. Yeah, we were just talking about hagstones tonight. Don and I were before the show. Pretty cool. And we'll have to mention those at another time on the show. But very interesting. Very interesting. But yeah, very, very cool. Very sad story, I guess.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah. I don't know why anybody would do that though. That's just
I know,
not
it's just so mean.
It's not even funny. It's like, you know, some people, what's wrong with you today? Nothing. Oh, you want to know what's wrong with me? I've had 14 people ask me what's wrong with me today. That's what the problem is.
So now that's what's wrong.
Congratulations, cat.
Yeah. All right, seeing the future without actually seeing it. I have been experiencing something for the past year now, and I have no idea what to call it, what it is, or if it is something at all. My best way to describe it is like this. It's as if I've lived through my life before, and now I'm living through it again. But I can unconsciously recall certain memories without realizing if this makes any sense. At first, it started as just a little fun in my head. It was the day before we went on holiday, and we were too excited to go to sleep, so we decided to play a game of Guess the Number. It was pitch black in the room, and she held up a number. It's important to note that I couldn't see her hand, and it was not cheating. Anyway, I managed to guess all of the numbers correctly. That doesn't sound like much, and at first I didn't think anything of it. In fact, over the next couple of days, we tried to do it again, and I couldn't even guess one of the numbers. So, about 5 days into the holiday, I have another experience. We'll call them moments for future reference. This one is slightly different in that we're sat down in our hotel room. We're getting ready to go downstairs and meet up with the rest of the family. I mentioned how I thought it was funny that singers can be really big 1 minute and then we'll never hear from them. To this, I used the example of Emily Sande, Emelisande. I hadn't heard one of her songs in years. Then as we get to outside and sit down with her family, the first song playing is Emily Sande, or Sandy, or whatever, I don't know. Although, once again, it's only small, I start to pick up on these moments. Excuse me. For the rest of the trip, I don't have any more moments which kind of made me forget about the whole thing. About a week after I got back, I was watching a film in my living room, and I can't remember what film. It had zombies, I think, and on the screen came a woman holding a baby. In my head, I imagined that the baby's name was Jacob, and just about a minute later, the woman mentions the baby's name is in fact Jacob. At this moment, I am reminded of everything that happened, and I was a bit spooked out. At first, I tried to tell my dad, but he kind of blew it off as well as my brother. Over the next couple of months, the moments are about every week or so, and they've been relatively small and insignificant. After the latter months, I even thought that what was happening had gone away altogether. This was until a couple of months ago. The moments were quite frequent and still are, and are seemingly quite big now, and I even feel that I have slight control over them. But this is very, very minimal. A couple of examples of what's happening frequently are these. Number one, me and my mom were on holiday. At this point, I had told her about what was happening, and she surprisingly believed me. In fact, she even told me that her mom used to read tarot cards and that she's slightly clairvoyant. Anyway, we were driving down this country road in the middle of the Lake District. The roads are really curvy and there are loads of trees. She asked me to guess which color car I thought would come next. I closed my eyes, something I had started doing because the first time I guessed the numbers with my friends, I had closed my eyes even though I had saw outlines of numbers I might not have done, and I could have just been guessing them, but I still do it. And I tried to look for a color in my head. This might sound ridiculous, but this is normally how it happens. I then guess red. although red cars are quite popular, it is kind of bizarre for me to guess that as we are in the countryside and see a car every 10 minutes, my mom even said how it was ridiculous for me to guess red. Anyway, about 5 minutes later, we haven't passed a car until one comes around the corner and it's red. Not only that, but the next 3 cars we see are also red. Again, my mom and I are in the car. This is number 2. And I was going to put on some music. I decided that I would put on Take a Bow by Rihanna, since me and my mom both love the song. This is slightly weird since we hadn't listened to it for years, and it was the first song I thought of. Anyway, we listened to it, and then listened to a couple of other songs as well. About 10 minutes later, my 3G on my phone runs out, and I have to put on the radio instead, and I turn over to our normal radio station. I can't remember for sure what it was, but pretty sure it was M Smooth or something. And it's halfway through playing a random song. The song ends, and the next song to be playing is Take a Bow by Rihanna. Keep in mind that the song is over 10 years old. This is one that actually scares me, number 3. I was at home alone, and as I sat in my room, I was watching a game show, Fails, and a Family Feud game came on with Steve Harvey. The fail was that the guy pushed the buzzer for Steve before Steve even started to ask the question. I have no idea why, but in that moment I guessed out loud what I thought his answer would be. I guessed cheese. A second after I said that, the contestant says, "Who took my cheese?" I had never watched this TV show before. I called my mom right after to tell her what happened. Number 4. This is the last example I'm going to give, and actually the one that happened most recently. Yesterday, I was listening to a video on YouTube while I was packing my suitcase. It was a video about a hair salon horror story, basically a story time. The creepy part is that this is where there are hundreds of these videos online, and I happened to choose this one. Anyway, about a minute into the video, the girl on the screen says, "What's that whistling noise?" referring to the whistle in her own house. Right at that moment, my next-door neighbor whistles from out the window in perfect reply to the girl's comment. To be honest, this one is a little out there, but I thought in terms of blank, says in terms of dash, I clicked on the video at the time to be perfectly aligned with everything. At this point, I began to really feel like something was happening. Every time I would try to tell somebody about what happened, they would just say it's coincidence, which at first is what I thought too. My computer's restarting over there. Well, every time I would try to tell someone about what was happening, they would just say it was coincidence, which is at first what I thought too. But it was happening about 2 times a day throughout the day that I thought it really couldn't be a coincidence. So this is what's happened to me. Like I said, I don't know how to describe it, or even if it's something psychic happening to me, or if it was really just some coincidence. So I would think that this person is just experiencing psychic ability. It's not necessarily premonitions; they're just tuning in.
Right.
And so that's I don't know. It sounds like when they're saying, "I think I lived this life before," that's how in their mind they're rationalizing the fact that they know what's going to happen, but it's just tuning into the energy of the world, I guess, or of her experience. So I don't think that's, and it is profound, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's so much proof that she's lived before the same life, but to me it's proof that has ability and she's just starting to realize them.
Wow, yeah. The car, once she said, "Oh, I chose a red car," I kind of went, well, you know what? Because red cars are red cars. You notice red cars no matter what.
Right.
How many times have you noticed a gray car, or even a champagne car for that matter? Because it's just red is that color that everybody looks for.
Right, right. Yep.
But, but the numbers, guessing the numbers, that's kind of cool. Maybe she tapped in. Maybe she could see through the card. Who knows?
I don't know. It's hard to know, but it is interesting. But I don't know that this is necessarily premonition, but it is and it isn't.
Right, right.
It seems to be more of a psychic ability of just knowing what is going on without knowing.
Right.
Knowing without knowing. Does that make sense?
Sure. It's one of those.
For the sake of this story, it's going to make sense.
It's gonna make sense whether you like it or not.
So, but very cool. Very cool. All right. Why is it doing that? Now it went to standby. Hold on. Let me just.
Yeah, you need. I wonder.
I know. I'm going to turn it on.
This one is from a friend. She swears it's true. Her dad was a hospice nurse. He got a call from the agency that said a patient was in the process of dying and was expected to pass very soon. They asked that he attend to the family. Apparently, the nurse who was supposed to be there could not make it for some reason. He complained that it was all the way across town and it wasn't his usual work day, but he went anyway. When he was nearly there, the agency called him to say the family had reported that the patient had passed, but to please go there and help the family with support and start the postmortem care.
Ooh.
When he arrived, he introduced himself by saying, "Hello, I'm Marty from the hospice." My friend said that the family's mouths fell open and all looked shocked. He apologized that their usual nurse could not make it. They said, "No, that's not it. Grandma kept mumbling that Marty was coming. We thought she was just talking nonsense, but here you are." So before she passed, she was saying, "Marty's coming, Marty's coming."
Wow.
So yeah,
That's
interesting.
powerful.
Well, see, now somebody on the threshold like that, I could believe can connect to something a lot quicker, a lot easier. I'm not exactly sure what it would be called, but if there was a connection, it's like somebody, knowing. Well, it's like somebody you're in a bad spot and somebody's coming for you.
Right.
Whether you know them by name, whatever. But I think it's one of those. I think the people who are closer to the veil, in that sense, as in death, maybe they do connect a lot easier, a lot more clearly, because they're peeking around the damn veil anyhow. They're like, "What's back there? Am I coming or what?"
Right.
So that's an interesting story too.
It really is. Yeah. It's very, very powerful.
Yeah.
I suppose if you're sitting right on the edge, you already got a foot on the other side. And I do think that spirits, are completely psychic. Like they don't have the barriers and filters that we have to work through.
Sure.
So those that have passed on can see everything with absolute clarity. So the idea of knowing what somebody's thinking is just, it's just like we're talking. I mean, they can know what's in your head. They can know what you're going to say next. They can, know a lot of things. I just don't think, because they're right on that energetic level.
Right.
They're not working through this physical barriers that we are.
Right.
We are divine conscious, focused into this fleshy
Meat bag.
meat sack.
Meat sack.
And so we have to filter through all of the, not only, worldly stuff, but psychological stuff because we can't see clearly.
Right.
We don't know, the whole picture of what's going on.
Right.
But I think that we are getting there. And I think that that's part of the transition we're in, is that we're getting there. We are growing into this new age and this new, the new definition of what it means to be a person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's very exciting to me. But unfortunately, there's a lot of growing pains. God.
Regulus says babies and old people.
Very true. Good point.
Yeah.
And small children, not even just babies, small children can be very plugged in.
That's an interesting point, D. D says your 5 senses are filters. You have to get beyond
Good
your
point.
senses.
Good point. And it's, how do we relearn?
Yeah.
We have to learn how to turn on that pineal gland and really get that information clearly. And part of it is physical. Part of it is just, exercising it and working on developing it. We didn't crawl out of the womb and start running around.
Yeah.
It took years for us to figure out how to, first move stuff. You're sitting there like this and smacking yourself, just trying to make these things do the right thing. And then you finally get that dialed in. You're grabbing with a meat fist instead of fingers, and then you work on fingers. So it's all this refined skill that we develop over a period of time. Well, perhaps it's the same with things like the pineal gland.
Yeah.
that we have to develop it just like we learned how to develop our hands and feet.
Right.
And, our function.
Our functions.
All
how
of our
to
functions.
maintain our functions.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're like this, and you're like, ooh, what's that warm feeling? Well, I just peed. I had no idea what the hell that was, but I've since learned that I can pinch that off and get to a proper place.
And now starts the potty humor.
This is the portal.
That's actually, it's a portal. Yes.
Yeah.
We're portaling all kinds of things.
Right.
But you're right. I mean, that's an interesting thought. Your senses, I've never thought about it like that, but I've always known we'd had to get past them.
Sure.
But just simply flat out saying your five senses are a filter, even your six senses.
Yep.
Maybe it's actually the five senses that are
in the way
filtering
of
the sixth sense.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
So thanks, Dee. Yeah, that's an interesting way to say that.
Very good insights. Yeah, I love you guys participating. When you guys participate, the conversation just gets all kinds of more depth. Absolutely. All right, so I got the ghost detector on.
Yes.
So
is that what's playing that music, or
no? That's just me playing
okay.
that music too, because I just think it sounds cool.
No, I love having that little bit of music.
Thank you.
Thank you. I fully.
And the
agree.
candles are burning.
Yes, they are. This one's not burning quite right though. That's what I was doing when you said I gotta blow my nose. So I don't know if I don't know. It's just not burning like I want it to.
Oh,
it's
okay.
unsatisfactory.
It does look a little dimmer.
Yeah, it does, because usually you can see,
that glow.
And I won't mention that that's the second time I've burned that finger on that candle, but whatever.
Well, Ooh, that's hot. Ooh,
MCAT's
that's hot. Ooh, it's still hot.
It's one of those things we have to learn. Yeah.
Speaking of learning.
Apparently Don hasn't learned it yet. MCAT just said he was into fitness today.
He was into fitness?
He's into fitness today.
Oh.
Fitting his pizza in his face.
Oh.
They're talking about food again. I don't know why.
Well,
I blame it on Ken, actually.
Ken, gotta love you, but this is the Paranormal Portal, not the Pizza Portal. All right, so let's continue here, ladies and gentlemen. This is seeing accidents before they happen. Oof. I'm not sure what to make of this and would appreciate some advice. Since I was young, this one comes out of Canada. This is actually from me, this last May.
Oh,
so.
nice.
Excuse me. Let's see. It says, since I was young, I'd seen many spirits, could sense energy, and am a tone synthesizist. What is a tone synesthesist? Synesthesist.
Oh.
Do you know this word?
I have a feeling it has to do with like tuning forks and things.
Oh, okay. But as I grew older, I lost a lot of it, shut a lot of it out.
Okay.
Well, apparently it's something else.
Well, it's being in tune, but anyhow.
Okay. Sometimes it'll come and go, but in the last 2 years, things have been surfacing more and more since I had children, particularly visions of accidents before they happen. I can't tell where or when or who they'll happen to. I will see the vision for a week or two before, and it gets stronger right before it happens. Afterwards, the visions stop. The first one 2 years ago was really intense. When I looked at a door or window, I would get a vision in my third eye of an explosion coming through it. It would happen maybe once or twice a day, and then more and more and more for about a week. Excuse me. Then I heard it on the news about a massive explosion in China that killed hundreds of people in a town. More recently, I kept having visions of getting T-boned in my car. It made me so anxious, so now I have 2 young children. I kept envisioning it for about 2 weeks. It got stronger and stronger until I heard on the news of a bus that got T-boned by a semi-truck. The Humboldt Broncos incident. Humboldt Broncos incident? Okay. After that, I saw a plane that seemed to be malfunctioning and landing early. Again, it made me very anxious as my dad travels often for business. I kept seeing the plane only for about a week, and then on the news I saw that plane had to do an emergency landing because an engine blew up. Excuse me. And one person got sucked part way out and died. Man, that sucks. Since then, I think your mic's dead again.
Yeah, it is.
All right. Go ahead. You ready?
Yeah.
Ouch.
Oh, jeez.
Jesus.
Well, there it is.
All right. Since then, I've said enough is enough. I'm turning this off. And any more visions I would shut out of my mind, because at this point in my life, with a newborn and a toddler, I can't handle any more anxiety. One day when I'm ready and I'm interested in harnessing and developing these visions, I will. Does anyone have similar experiences? Well, sure. But now here's the thing that's a little concerning about that story, is that the broadness of it. It's like, okay, so you see an explosion blowing out a window. Well, you keep seeing it and you keep thinking about it. Well, sooner or later, some kind of explosion is going to happen somewhere on the planet. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just eventually something's going to happen. And so the same thing with the airplanes. Like an airplane had to make an emergency landing. They saw that happening. And if, how long and what broad a spectrum can you paint this with? And I'm not saying that what they're experiencing is not valid.
Right.
It's just very general, and almost too general to be narrowed into a psychic premonition.
Right.
It's, there are explosions everywhere that blow out windows all the time. I mean, you can turn on the news any night and see that bombs landed somewhere and blew up something.
Oh, you know what? I think there's going to be a volcano.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I keep seeing lava.
There's going to be an earthquake.
Well, somewhere there's earthquakes, and somewhere there's volcanoes.
Yeah. Synthesia. It's when you like you say a word or you say a letter and you see the color associated that your brain associates with it.
Okay.
You remember hearing about? I knew of a guy. I watched a show. He learned the Icelandic language, had never been immersed in it or spoke of it or thought of it before. But the reason he could speak it so fluently within like 3 days was through the synthesia.
Oh, okay.
So basically she hears tones and it's associated with colors.
Okay. Gotcha.
But it's in regards to movement as well. So there you go.
Cool. Okay. All right, so very interesting. Did you have another one you wanted to read?
Sure, I found a kind of a
cornucopia.
I just closed them. Oh, they're there. The big park in the sky. Man, like a week before my sister died, she said she had a dream that someone took her up to play in a big park in the sky, but that they told her that she had to come back to live there. She said she asked if her family could come, and the person told her no. Then the night before she died, our parents literally couldn't pull us apart, as in we were screaming and crying, wouldn't let go of each other, and that hadn't happened before. Okay, more on the story. I guess it makes it more curious, being that she was a healthy young girl. That day my dad sent her and my other half, but I called them sisters because they lived together off and on. My other sister out to the park to play with their mother. He was suspicious for weeks that someone had broken into the garage, so he wanted my stepmother to take the vehicle and the kids out. While he waited with a gun in the nightstand, with a gun in the nightstand next to him. Okay. They came home early because she was crying that she wanted to see our father, and she went into his room while he was asleep, took the safety off, supposedly, and shot herself through the heart and into his leg. He always had guns laying around in the house. Okay, so there was a premonition of the sister dying.
Wow.
Because of the big... she was taken to the park in the sky, and then she ended up shooting herself.
Oh, that's horrible.
Wow. That sucks.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you've got any kind of firearms around,
be responsible.
Be responsible. My God. There's just... Being a parent, I can tell you there's one thing that I could never get over in my life. It would never, ever, ever heal. It would never stop hurting, is losing a child. I mean, it's just... having to bury a child would just be the
end of everything.
I mean, literally, I just like I wouldn't care if I participated anymore in the world. I would just wreck loose, and it's just one of those things. Thank God I've never had to experience that. I pray to God all the time I never will have to experience that, because there are some things that no person should ever have to experience, and that certainly is one of them, is having to bury your small child. It's just, oh my God, any child, but especially a small child. My God. Ugh, I don't know how our ancestors did it.
No
You know,
doubt.
when they'd have 10 kids and expecting, 3 of them to make it. It's just like, oh my God. Thank God that the world is not so harsh in that way, at least.
Right.
But anyway, don't want to
Wow.
put any more energy into that thought. That's just,
Yeah. Anyhow.
my heart just breaks for people that have had to. I don't know how, how to ever deal with that. But
Right.
anyway, I will read another one. I've got another. I'm just kind of froggy. It's this change in weather, though.
Yeah.
I'm sure of it is. Seeing into the future and changing it. Here you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, here you go. Yeah.
I'm named, this comes from actually just recently out of Japan. It's a person from Japan, and ever since I was a child, I was able to see things others may not. When I sleep, even a small nap, I am able to see someone's future, as long as it has some type of ties to me. I never thought that seeing the future was a gift, because I see the times when someone is supposed to pass or get injured. Just recently, when I was going to vacation with my family to Washington, they were supposed to die in a car accident. And I would like to inform you that it was raining heavily that day, very. I was the only one to make it out alive. Whenever I sense something about to happen that I've already seen, my body freezes, literally, and sees everything again. I saw the truck that was supposed to kill them. I saw all the blood. I saw the death itself, yet I was unable to pass on with them. At that moment, I had to change their deaths from happening. I changed the future by doing something that the vision did not show. It's quite complicated to explain in text. Even so, I managed to change the future I foresaw. However, this does come with a price. I am unable to fully understand it, but everything does come with a price. My family's death might just be delayed, or I believe I might have changed my family's place for another. I fear the so-called gift I have. I told my mother and sister, she's a little younger than me by 3 years, about the vision I had. I told them 2 different stories because I'm unable to tell them the whole truth. You mustn't tell anyone the whole truth of a vision. Anyway, I know how to handle my so-called power quite well. The only thing I cannot control is when I have them. That's interesting. I think your mic died again.
Again. Oh, there. See, I don't know. I'm wondering if it's this mic stand. I really do, because every time I pull it out of the mic stand, it pops right back in. Interesting.
It is interesting.
So and this story was talking about how you can change it. Well, first of all, if I had to travel in a car into Washington, shoot me. Because I hate that state.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
But, and she said, well, it's raining. Well, those are things everybody already knows.
Yeah, it does rain there.
But, I mean, just because you had a dream, but she never went into what she changed or how she changed it. So
she or he.
Well, they. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Yep.
they. So, it kind of leaves the question, what was the story that, obviously there was a car accident. In the dream, there was a car accident, lots of blood.
Uh-huh.
But maybe that lots of blood goes back to that superstition about the Arabic person I just read, about blood being a sign of life, and that's good.
Right.
So,
Hard to know.
But apparently there was no car accident, so.
Yeah,
they just didn't go to Washington, which is a better idea.
Well, I think they probably went, but it's I don't know. I would love to know more about what they changed. It's one thing to say, oh, it's just too hard to explain. Well, not to explain it at all is it's like, why write it at that point? It's like, I can do this, but it takes too long to explain. So
yeah, and
take care.
So
the end.
Yeah.
It's like a 3-year-old. The end.
The end. Fine.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's something to that kind of stuff or not. I don't know.
Huh.
But very weird. Huh. So let me get to the next one here. Do you believe it's already 8:23? Wow.
8:23. Wow.
That's how it rolls here on the portal.
And we only have 16 of 26.
Wow, 26 people like it. If you're watching this and enjoying it, like it. Even if you're not really enjoying it, like it anyway.
Please. Please and thank you.
Even if you're just here to talk about food.
Which apparently half of the chat room is.
Yeah,
God love you.
If you enjoy the ambiance Don and I create while you have a food talk, that's great.
That's awesome. Let's have dinner sometime because it just keeps going.
Hit the like. All right, glimpse of the future. I have no idea how to explain this, but I will try my hardest. They managed to do one whole paragraph, so I don't know how hard they're trying here, but
it's a giant run-on sentence.
This is my favorite stories. All right, this all started about 2 years ago when I was about 12 years old. When nothing is going through my mind, I get a very vague and subtle vision about what's going to happen 10 to 30 seconds later. The first time it happened was when I was in an overnight camp and it was raining. I got a vision that it was the rain would stop and a bird would fly over me. Less than 30 seconds later, the rain stopped and a bird flew over me. Do I have powers? Can tell this is a child, but or is it just my brain really into seeing things? Lately, I've been getting visions for what people will say or if people or animals die. My mom and dad were driving home from the orthodontist a few weeks ago, and I got a vision that a car would come and hit a porcupine and kill it. 20-ish seconds later, the car in front of us hit a porcupine, and its organs were splattered all over the highway. I also somehow knew my mom and dad just finished her game. I was sitting next to her, not looking at her phone, and I was watching TV. And I got the vision, I looked over, and she had just finished her game. What is happening to me? Is this a condition? Please help me out. I've been researching around, and it just says that it's fake or it's deja vu. I really want to know if I have superpowers. If anyone knows what this is called, I'd be amazing if you could help me see through this being fake or deja vu like they said. If not, I can go to my doctor or talk to my parents about this. My parents wouldn't believe me, and my doctor would probably take a bunch of tests and stuff, so hear me out and help me figure this out. Well, it's not superpowers. You're not going to suddenly get a cape and save the city kind of stuff, but it is perhaps a glimpse into what abilities we all have.
Right.
You know, the whole life, the thing that I don't like the most is when people try to separate themselves from everyone else. Well, you know, I'm developing this new ability, and you know, it's like you're not Doctor Strange. You know, you're not Thor.
Right.
In as much as that may be cool, you are just peeking into the ability we all have, and it doesn't have to separate you from anything. It should make you a teacher. It should make you a leader to help other people develop that same thing. I mean, this isn't a competition. This isn't a race. Does the world need superheroes? Hell yeah, it does. Yeah. I mean, it really does.
That it does.
It's a mess, but until radioactive spiders start biting people, or you know, alien children start landing around here, you know, we're probably going to be
or some serious gamma radiation.
Right, or some serious experimentation going on somewhere.
Just call me the Thing.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's not probably going to happen in our lifetimes, and I'm too old to be a superhero now anyway, so if I don't get to be super, nobody gets to be super.
You know what they say about being special? Once everybody's special, nobody's special.
Right. But I think we're just all working our way back home, ladies and gentlemen. We're just working back to
that's an interesting
our truth, and I really think this is a school. This is a classroom. We're learning. We're growing. We're getting little peeks at what lies ahead and where we can get to. But it's not about being, you know, one up on anyone else. It's not about being more powerful than anyone else. Right. It's about, you know, taking care of becoming the example, become the light that everyone else can aspire to if you are able to. And if you have a gift, use it to help people, you know. But you know what I mean? It's like some people want to use it as well, this makes me so much more greater than everyone else.
Right.
And it's not that. It should never be looked at that way because can you do things other people can't quite do yet? Yeah. Is it incredibly powerful and special? Hell yeah, it really is. And you get people like Deb, who has, got disabilities, and Sean and Dee, that use their ability to see and help people with that. That's very powerful. That becomes an amazing thing, but they're not elevating themselves onto a platform when they're doing it.
Yeah.
They're just saying, look, I want to help. I want to use this to help people's lives, make that better.
Right.
And probably racking up some amazingly good karma in the process.
Oh, God, yeah. I could use some of that. Pass it my way.
So I just think that that's important to put out there because, there's a lot of strangeness in the world. There are people that can do things, but they are still people, and we're all in the same classroom together. So,
right. Well, apparently Diana says the X-Men will be here to take us up shortly to the School of Gifted Children.
For me, they're going to need to pull up in the short bus. That's all I got to say.
They pull up in the short jet.
Yeah, that's right.
Painted yellow with little flashers. Boop,
Yeah.
boop.
No, I think that everybody is amazingly incredible and has these just phenomenal abilities to heal the world. And I would love that that the world was more like Marvel and DC. That'd be awesome. But this isn't a superhero contest. It's just us growing through these trials and tribulations, trying to find our way back home. And home isn't a place. It's an awareness. It's a realization. It's like Jesus said. It's don't ask where the kingdom of God will come, for it is in you. You are the kingdom of God. If you're into religious prose, then you can appreciate that. But it's not just a Christian thing. It's just
Right.
It's just that we are the lights. We are these burning cosmic lights and of divine power.
Right.
And we're getting there. Hopefully, some of us are. Oh God, you got another one, buddy?
Sure. Yeah.
Take it away. And
Take it
ladies and
away.
gentlemen, here's Don in complete beard vision.
It's my last time on Earth here. It's my
Really?
last time on Earth here. Yeah, that's what it says. Hindus believe in afterlife or rebirth. To be more exact, strangely, no one has mentioned that here. I'm not a practicing Hindu, so I never really thought deeply into such matters until I met a very kind lady, my father's friend's wife, when I was 14 years old. She had the ability to see into the future, and I'm not joking, you guys, when I say that whatever she's told me has happened so far to the T. She just held my hand and basically saw my future. This is the part I don't want to accept, but since this would mean our fate has been set in stone or something to that extent. Okay. God, it's a hard one to read. She just held my hand and basically saw my future. This is the part I don't want to accept or like, since this would mean our fate has been set in stone or something to that extent. I'm 28 now, and I'll never forget the sensation I got from her, that warm vibration, energy that she radiated. I also asked her why she's able to see into people's futures or something along those lines, which I was a cynic because there are tons of astrologers out there promising you lives, and she said it's my last time on Earth here. This would explain it, I suppose. The soul, called Atman, leaves the body and reincarnates itself according to the deeds or karma performed by one's last birth. A person stays with God or the ultimate power when he discharges only yasna karma, means work to be done for satisfaction of Supreme Lord only, in the last birth, and it's sometimes called moksha or nirvana, which is the ultimate goal of the realized self. So I do believe there's something more, we just don't know what. But I do know that death is the only certainty in life, and that's morbidly comforting to me. Okay, so a lady told her that this was her last incarnation and she was going to nirvana. That's what the boil down to that is. And so, yeah, she's just that's morbidly comforting to me. Well, knowing that you've done your turns you know, and heading to Nirvana this time.
Yeah,
That
that's
would
pretty
be
encouraging.
comforting.
That is encouraging, definitely.
Great. How many times have I been alive? 432.
Yeah.
424 or 34 is the last time around, buddy.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
there's
no
that.
doubt.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm sure that that's probably how it all works, is that we're, you know, we do probably do this a little more than one time, because I think we're, you know, in a nutshell, I just think that we're, you know, working our way back to our divinity.
Right.
You know, but it's, I don't know. I could get all
Existential.
existential and philosophical about it, but you know, I've never thought that my ideas should be anybody else's, or
Right.
that anyone else should believe.
You've got to come to your own light.
Right, exactly. You just got to figure out what it means to you. You know, what does this
Right.
all mean? But I definitely believe that we're working towards something here, and you know, I've been reading a lot about the metaphysics and quantum physics and the whole idea of this being a simulation.
Right.
And I know that's a lot about what Beyond the Veil talks about, and even Fearless with Frank talks about that
And
quite a
Ra,
bit.
yeah.
And Ra, right? And I think there is a possibility that that's really could be what this is going on. But you know, it's just the terminology makes it just seem so impersonal, like it's, you know, just this fabrication of a machine somewhere.
Right.
And it doesn't seem to have merit at that point. Now, what I will say is that, you know, perhaps all of realities are manifestations, and by manifestations, you could say simulations.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because the whole idea of matter being energy in its most fundamental form means that, of course, it's a simulation. The only thing that is truly in existence is energy, but we are energy. So we are a simulation of ourselves, and therefore no less real than, you know, than that fundamental truth of us being energy. It's just we are energy manifested in this simulation in order to get to a higher understanding or higher vibration, at which point we can exist purely as energy because we've developed and we've transcended.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. The thing that concerns me with the whole simulation theory is that it becomes empty, and that it becomes devoid of purpose. That it's
Right,
just an
yeah.
exercise of futility.
Right.
And I don't think that that's it at all. I think it has a very profound purpose, and the purpose is to get us to resonate higher and to grow brighter and stronger and into our own divinity, so that we can shine and do, you know, amazing things and create our own realities later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make any sense?
No, it makes perfect sense. You know,
Okay.
I mean, because, you know, you got to build to something. I mean, it's like I was telling somebody the other day. It's like, look, you know, here I am. I'm 47 years old. You know, I really haven't found anything I wanted to do in my entire life. I was in, you know, a lot of different, you know, fields, and I even worked one for almost 15 years. And I liked it. I liked doing it. I didn't mind it. But, you know, I knew there was something more.
Right.
And so you just keep pushing and pushing, and you find out what you got. Now, you know, and so I was actually talking to my boss about this the other night, and I said, look, you know, things are going great with the show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I never would have thought in a million years that I would be doing a YouTube show or any show, anything, radio, TV, whatever, nothing. You know, but here I am, and I think it's fulfilling, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I forgot where I was going with this.
Your reality.
But I mean, yeah, but I mean, it fulfills my reality, you know. It makes me feel like I'm doing something, I'm reaching something.
Right.
You know, and
that there's a purpose.
yeah, that there's a purpose, exactly, because you were
Right.
talking about devoid of purpose. And I felt that way for a long, long time.
Right.
But here we are a year and a half later, being on the show with you. And, you know, it's starting to really develop, and it's really starting to become something to me.
Right.
You
Right.
know? And so there you go. There's my spirituality.
Well, that's true. It's very true. And I can't tell you how many jobs
Yeah.
I have done. I've done just about
Yeah, and you're
everything
like,
under
why
the sun.
the hell am I doing this?
Well, like for instance, I worked in a cabinet factory at one point in my young life.
Yeah, you
and
installed cabinets in Prince's house.
Yeah, well, that was countertops, but yeah,
Okay.
I worked in the countertop cabinet factory later, but I worked in the cabinet factory first. And as I was on this assembly line, putting these doors on these wall cabinets, I was like, at the end of my days, nobody's going to care. These things that I'm making now will be in a landfill somewhere because they will have fallen apart and gotten destroyed or ripped out or whatever.
Right.
It's good for just a moment. And the countertops, the same thing. When I was putting those in, it's like, those are great now, but when they're not trendy, they'll get ripped out.
Right.
And something else will go in, and nobody's going to care. And when I worked retail, it's like, when they buy this, they're going to enjoy it for a little bit, but nobody's going to care. And, in truth, the only things that I've done that I felt have really had merit in my life are, being as a good a person as I can be for my family, for my children, for my wife, for my, the rest of my family, being a father and doing this show. Like, I feel like the show is it's not just about entertaining and talking about, woo-wee phenomenon.
Yeah, but you talk about creating that community.
Right.
And you have that. You've got that going on. Yeah. Many people have said that.
Well, yeah, and it feels like a family. It feels like that we've built a family here, and that I'm part of this I don't know, this movement of awareness and ideas.
Energy.
Right, exactly. So it feels incredibly profound to be a part of it. And you're right, it is fulfilling, because I really feel like this matters. The portal matters, because even if the only thing a person gets out of it is that for a few hours a week,
we entertained them.
We took them away from whatever whatever pain they may have, whatever we made them laugh, we made them smile, and God, there's so much to laugh about here on the show. But we did something cool, and perhaps even introduced people to new ideas that they might not have thought of or gotten to through their normal channels, or we just have brought ideas to life that people resonate with and gave them, some idea, or we just listened that they were able to tell their story.
Right.
To me, that's incredibly powerful and profound too. So, I've really, really, really enjoyed doing the show. It's truly a labor of love, and you guys are awesome. All of you guys out there listening.
Hey, change the frame so they can see you speak.
Oh, you don't need to see me. That's right. I'm looking at the camera.
You're looking right at.
I'm making hand gestures. And you guys.
You're right. You're right. Now, and there are things that go along with the portal that are fulfilling to me as well. Just like you said. You being a father, you being a family man. There are those things. My family and the things that are close to me as well. They don't get me wrong. Those are. I don't mean to discount those, but
sure.
This is work wise. Or
right.
What I do in life.
Mm-hmm.
This show is what I want to do.
Well, yeah, exactly.
And just keep going and going and going. But I just wanted to digress a little bit and say, I wasn't discounting the other parts of my life. I was just highlighting this one.
I agree.
So.
No, I appreciate that, and to those of you that love building cabinets and working, I'm certainly not disparaging that at all. If you're doing what you're passionate about, you're doing it right. You are doing it right. Because if you the old saying, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you love doing those things, and I did like them, I loved learning about them and doing different things. I've done so many different things in my life, but this has by far been one of the most rewarding, for sure. And it's all because of you guys out there.
Because of you.
Because if I was just sitting here playing pretend Portal,
which some days it felt that way, didn't it?
Because, it did for a long time. It felt like we were just there'd be like one or two people tuning in. It's like, wow, but it still was fun. We still had fun with it, and we it certainly has grown and built. So
yeah, definitely.
But we hope you've loved the Portal as much as we have, or at least have enjoyed it. Many of you have reached out to us, telling us how awesome you think the show is,
and we so appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm telling you, those emails and messages are like, yes,
yeah, they add fuel.
Yeah, they add purpose to this journey for sure. Wow. But let's get to another story here and see what we can do.
Well, today's been kind of like the night of
reflection
of a lot of things.
Yeah, well, these stories have brought up a lot of interesting ideas
true.
and points and stuff. And, like I said, I don't want the portal to ever be a structured,
Right.
rigid thing. I want it to be fluid, and where it goes. And sometimes it goes into conversations like that, and that's cool. And if you don't like that, if you need more structure in your entertainment, then you might not be in the right place.
Yeah, you might want to get back onto that mainstream stuff,
Right.
because we're not for the average person.
Well, we are, but they don't know it yet.
They didn't-
The average
they
people
haven't-
don't know yet.
They haven't come to that realization yet. Exactly.
They don't realize how good we are for them.
Oh goodness. Next story.
Psychic phenomenons is next. As I was growing up at age 14, I began having experiences of clairvoyance. I was reading people and reading minds and all. I went to bed one night and had visions of people and places as quick flash pictures. For years, I never knew what this meant until I read a book on it and I found out I was clairvoyant. I never studied this phenomenon. It just came to me on its own with no effort on my part. One day I started to wait for the images to come, and they almost never came when trying to wait for them to appear. I could never figure this one out. One morning, I met a woman for the first time and we talked about ESP. I mentioned that I can see visions of people and places and almost have control. I told her I can find wherever you live, and she said, okay, do it then. You should have seen the look on her face when I showed up at her place. Boy, was she mad. That is a little creepy. She then said, don't you ever violate my rights again. I said, hey, told you I was going to show up. It was then that I started losing some of my abilities. For a long time, I had nothing to see. Now it came back, and when I'm tired, I have many visions, but I don't bother with it. I was also doing psychometry and saw visions of whoever touched that object, even someone who died. This is how I did this. I closed my eyes, relaxed, and told myself, I will see images coming from this object. I would then think of nothing. After a little while, flash pictures would pop in and disappear in an instant without warning, fast, clear, and lifelike. Years later, I forecasted deadly earthquakes that no one believed until it was too late. Hundreds were killed. A friend told me, you are trying too hard. Learn to let go. Just gently think of the forehead. When I did this, it worked, and it has been working ever since. I also learned to do telekinesis. I moved a doll, but was unable to do it at a distance. I stopped watches and made the second hand go backwards. That's just about it, other than seeing ghosts since birth. Nothing spectacular happened lately. Well, it sounds like an amazing bunch of things are happening. And again, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know. Is this genuine? Is this somebody's creative writing project? It could be any of it. But if it's true, and it's possibly true, then it's incredibly profound. Now, I do believe there's something to the relaxing part, and we'll have to let Sean or Dee or Deb reflect more on that, because they are much more trained visionaries than I, but I think that there's something to that. When you try, you can't force that energy to flow. Right. You've got to let that energy flow and be aware of it. But I would love to hear, is Sean even in here?
Dee is. I haven't seen
okay.
Sean.
Okay, well, Dee, if you can weigh in on that and let us know if that's kind of the right way to sum that up, that do you relax and be aware of the energy, or do you will the energy? How do you manifest that? And hopefully, she'll type in a response. But very interesting. Okay, so the next one is predictions. Everybody loves a good prediction. All right, I have quite a few experiences, so I'll list them. Lost. When I lived in Gloucester. This is the United Kingdom. Okay, Gloucester. At the age of 5, going on 6, I had a problem controlling my emotions. I'm a very sensitive person, and sure enough, so was my mother. Though she had me when she was in her 20s, and had obviously grown a lot emotionally herself. We have this bond. She was cleaning a house, a government one, as a job. I had gone to the park to play for a while, as I had become bored. I played until dawn and returned to the exact same street where the house was, though there was various houses. They all looked the same. I was only little and didn't understand, but I was lost. Sure enough, panic set in and I was scared. I walked up and down the street examining the houses, looking for clues as to which house I was supposed to go inside to find my mom. Sure enough, sooner or later, I remembered and ran inside. Mom, I couldn't find you. She was surprised too, as she had told me that she had seen me lost in her head. I felt that someone was watching me out on the street too. Then she told me that she sometimes sees things, and her mother did before her.
Huh.
The next one, 5 seconds. When I was in school at the age of 7, going on 8, I still had problems controlling my emotions. I was finding it hard as I moved a lot due to my dad being with the RAF. That I just moved, leaving my dad in Gloucester. He and my mom divorced, so I was sensitive with no father. And I was daydreaming whilst on the toilet in a cubicle. And I thought Laura, my friend, was going to walk in and say, Lisa, what loo are you in? And sure enough, 5 seconds later, she did. I was stunned. I told her what had happened, and so was she. I can't remember the others right now, so there you go. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very profound. Again, it's that whole idea of children. Some children are just really blessed enough to be born into it.
Mm-hmm.
And some people allow their children to keep it. And those are the two distinctions.
You know, and that's, I've mentioned that all the
Yep.
time, you know, you gotta, you know, I don't feel that I was ever really allowed to enjoy my childhood as far as imaginary friends or, you know, flights of fancy. Let's just say that.
Sure.
You know, so it's like, no, you got to stop that. You got to grow up. You got to be like this person. You got to do this. It's like,
Right.
whatever. And so I think it feels like, you know, that these had helped build the wall.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And so, you know, yeah, I mean, but, you know, apparently this person was allowed to go that way, and that's awesome, you know, but.
Right. To have a supportive mother that also had gifts.
And,
I mean,
and the mother's mother, the grandmother, yeah.
Right. And that sounds like what Deb was talking about, is that she comes from a long line of these visionaries as well.
Right.
And I think that's pretty powerful. Now, did Dee ever respond in the chat?
Oh, Dee said something about, you know, relax, and let me see here. She did reply briefly. D, where did you type that? Oh, she says relax, and it can make it happen too.
She said, I would say the abilities are natural and also can be developed. Some people call them called naturals are born with it. Okay. Very cool. Well, thank you, Dee. I appreciate that. That's Diane Swiger, of course. She's a longtime contributor to the show. Great friend of the show as well. So thank you, Dee, for those of you who aren't familiar with her. And she's also a psychic. We have 3 very gifted people that are directly associated with the show and have helped many listeners with problems of their own. One, of course, is Deb Varner, who does readings on the show regularly.
You know what? And let's send out good thoughts and feelings and vibes to Deb, because she does live down in North Carolina.
Right, North Carolina.
I'm not sure exactly where, but you know.
Yeah, that is her ground. So we will be wrapping her and hers in light and love. And also Sean is who's No, I'm not saying he's. I'm saying he's another person associated with the show who has extended himself to help a lot of other people that have written in with problems of their own regarding the paranormal, and Diane has as well. So there's a lot of people that have been really amazingly helpful and kind with their ability, and have used them selflessly to help those listeners that have been having a lot of trouble.
Oh, there's Deb. Hi,
there
Deb.
She is. Hey, Al.
Wow.
I guess we have summoned her.
I manifested. She manifested upon the request.
Right.
Wow.
Well, we hope that you're safe, Deb. I don't know if you're in dire straits with the coming storm or not, but we're sure praying for you, keeping you in our love and light, and wishing all kinds of goodness upon you and yours.
Maybe she was just lurking, and then she heard us mention that.
She just wasn't talking.
She wasn't saying nothing.
But she knew her psychic abilities.
Yeah, she was on.
Talking.
She was on our frequency.
So far, we are okay. Okay,
good,
wonderful.
Good.
Yeah, and our hearts And prayers go to all of the people that may be affected by
Absolutely.
the coming storm. I don't know what it's going to mean, what it's going to go, how it's going to go, but we certainly are wishing you all the best, and please be safe out there. We don't want any harm to come to our family. And by family, I mean everybody. Whether you listen to the show or not, I don't.
Even those misguided children who don't listen to the show.
Well, they're just what I consider them as future listeners. Future Portalians, as you guys used to call them. Portalians, didn't you? Portal people.
Now I'm just thinking of going with the PS, the Portal Squad.
Portal Squad. Portal people. I like that.
Wait until I get my new beanie.
Yeah, we'll have to figure that out.
I got a new beanie.
You got another story?
Yeah, I got one of those too. I got another swig in the jug.
All right.
Another
take it away.
Whiskey
Mr.
in the jarro right here.
Whiskey in the jar. We used to cover that in my old band.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
Goodbye, Anne. There was this lady, we'll call her Anne, and that was a friend of my mom's, and I lived with her for a couple months after college. I worked second shift, so I was up late watching TV after everyone else was in bed. Annie comes walking into the living room half asleep. I say, "What's going on, Annie?" She says, "My grandmother just called." I'm like, no one's called. She insists that she had just talked to her grandmother and their grandmother called to tell her goodbye. Now she wants to call her family to check on her. Nonsense, I say. It was just a dream. Don't bother your family in the middle of the night. Go back to bed and call them in the morning. And she goes back to bed. About an hour later, I'm just getting into bed when the phone rings. And it's her family calling to tell her that her grandmother died about an hour ago. The grandmother was old but not sick or on her deathbed or anything. Annie did not remember any of this the next day, and we never spoke of it.
Wow.
I thought about this for years, struggling with labeling it a ghost story or just an eerie coincidence. My skeptical and logical tendencies decided to label it a coincidence. The only times I've retold the story have been to people who do not know Annie in the situations where everybody is telling her ghost stories. Then, about a decade later, Annie dies unexpectedly.
Ooh.
I went to her funeral and her brother delivered the eulogy. In it, he tells this story. When Anne was about 4, her great-grandmother died. All of the family was gathered in the house, and someone noticed that little Annie had disappeared. After a brief search, they found her in the bedroom, rolling on the floor, laughing. "What on earth are you laughing about, Annie?" Annie says, "Great-grandma was tickling me. She came to tell me goodbye."
Oh.
Wow. Okay, so, yeah, great-grandma and grandma. She was connected to him, apparently.
Yeah, no kidding. That's really cool.
Yeah. Nice. Another one?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Read them if you got them.
2 psychic moments. I have 2. I'll start with the less freaky of the 2. When I was about 13 years old, I was home watching my younger brother and sister. Out of nowhere, I had this looming feeling that something terrible was about to happen to my mom on her way home. It felt like a weird dream where I was watching her get into an accident at an intersection leading from a local shopping center in our town. Immediately, I called my mom. If she's driving, that's not a really good idea. I immediately called my mom, but there was no answer, thank God. Being a young kid, I immediately feared the worst and started having a headache. Moments later, the house phone rang, and it was from her phone. I answered the phone and immediately said, "Mom, are you all right?" My mom quickly responded. Thankfully, I heard the phone ring, and when I went to grab it, I swerved into the other lane. But when I did, some jackass on the other side of the road came into my lane.
Oof.
If I didn't swerve by mistake, I would have been hit by the oncoming car.
Wow.
I paused, stunned at what she had just said. Stunned by what she just said. "I'm home, take me drunk. Why did you ask if I was all right?" I'm home, take me drunk? Why did you ask if I was all right? "I don't know, Mom. I just thought something horrible happened and I had to check on you. To this day, my mom is convinced I can see things before they happen. But this wasn't the nail in the coffin for that belief of hers. The next story is."
Ooh.
You know, and I just got done saying calling your mom while she's driving is probably not a good idea. This one just got lucky
It
because
might be.
yeah, it might be.
Yeah.
So here's the next story. This took place when I was maybe 11 or 12 years old, right as my parents were getting separated. About once a week, I would wake up sweating from a terrible, reoccurring nightmare and immediately go into my mom's room, and tell her about it. Yes, I used to be a mama's boy. In this dream, I would be walking down a set of wooden stairs with a wooden banister. The walls were covered in a floral pattern wallpaper with family pictures littering the walls. Each time I looked at the pictures, everyone's face was blurry. I could never make out anyone in the pictures. The only thing that stood out was the frames. These cheap golden thin frames that were falling apart and looked very tacky. At the bottom of the stairs, there was a door in front of you that led to the backyard and a doorway to the left that led to the kitchen. As soon as I would turn to the kitchen, I was filled with terror, almost peed myself, and then I'd wake up sweating. This happened for several months. Neither myself nor my mother could ever make sense of it. After several months of these dreams happening, my mom received a call from one of her few close friends that she wanted us, my mom, myself, my brother, and sister, to come visit her at her new house that her and her boyfriend had just moved into. Nobody really wanted to drive an hour out there just to stop by, but since my mom's friend had a very cute daughter around my age, I begged us to go.
Nice.
So we all got there and were hanging out upstairs in the kids' room while my mom's friend and her boyfriend were downstairs talking. My mom was with all of us looking at their rooms and catching up. I wanted something to drink, so I decided to go downstairs for some soda. As I rounded the first turn of the stairwell, I was struck with the worst case of deja vu. It was the stairwell from my dream. Same picture frames, same door, same wallpaper. Instantly, I felt dread. I did not want to go down those stairs and into the kitchen in fear of what might be there. As I was about to turn around, I heard a whack coming from inside the kitchen, and what sounded like a gentle sobbing. I decided to investigate, and as I rounded the corner, there was my mom's friend getting the crap beat out of her by her boyfriend.
Oh, jeez.
I gasped, and they heard me and looked over. The boyfriend shouted at me and then went after me. I hauled it upstairs. I hauled it up those stairs towards my mom. I screamed for her to help, and she caught him coming after me. We immediately called the cops on him, and he was arrested for domestic abuse. Apparently, this has been going on for over a year, and none of her kids or herself said anything to anyone in fear of being killed by this maniac. Had I not witnessed it myself, I may have continued on until my mom's friend or one of her kids were dead.
Wow.
This is the moment my mom thought I must be psychic.
Yeah. Wow.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Oh,
Why does anybody put up with being treated like that?
I don't know.
I've known so many people that have stayed in relationships like that. It's just like, oh my God.
You know, I gotta say, when people say, "Oh, we stay together for the kids," I think that's kind of like destructive to the kids personally.
Right, especially when it's it's such anger, it's such
Violence.
and anger. What are you doing to the kids?
Yeah.
If you're staying for the kids, then you're just training them to have violent, angry relationships.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not teaching them love and kindness and community and
Yeah.
all the good things. You're only teaching them to hurt.
Right.
So get out of those relationships. If you're in one of those relationships out there, get out. You're not helping anybody, and you're risking your own life because so many of these go sideways anyway. But at the very least, you are damaging so many people by trying to save something that is so broken it can't be saved.
Already broken. Yeah.
Yeah, just get out and save yourself and save the people you love.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Jesus, and call the cops on these clowns.
Yeah.
Just call the cops, get them out.
Yeah, and I've seen so many people when I was working. One of the jobs I worked at, there was. It wasn't bad turnover, but we would get a new person every couple months.
Sure.
And one of the people that lasted the longest, I every day I'd hear her complain about you know, her boyfriend and this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, you know, if he's that bad, get away from him.
Right.
And apparently a situation like this happened, and finally it's sunk in. You know, it's like, God, why do you wait?
Right.
Wait,
Oh.
don't wait. Anyhow.
Yeah. I had a person that was very dear to me in a very abusive relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And she stayed with this idiot for so long, and it was just getting worse and worse and worse, and she'd leave and then go back and then leave and go back. It's like, oh, why go back? Why? Just get away.
Right.
So, and then finally she did, and I'm really thrilled. And I don't know whatever happened to that idiot, but and it can go both ways. There are women abusing men too.
Right.
I'm not putting down men. This is not about that. It's just about abusive relationships.
Right.
Are never going to end well. You're not going to flip a switch in them and suddenly they're going to become the man of your dreams or the woman of your dreams.
Right.
They're just not. They're broken. They are so broken, and if they're hitting you, you can't fix them because
It's already broke.
They've already decided that you are their problem, so you're not going to get to fix them. They're not going to let you. You know, somebody else is going to have to fix them. So if somebody's hitting you, get the hell out. Just get out. There's nothing good is going to come from it for staying. You don't get any prizes. There's no awards. You just get hurt.
Not even a participation award.
Right.
My God, there's just
and
nothing good about it.
And it's not a laughing matter at all. It's actually very, very tragic. But just get away from these people. And I'll guarantee you that's somebody that's going to listen to the stream is in one of those relationships. Don't stay. Don't stay with these idiots. Don't stay with these people that hurt you, because that's not love. That's not real. That's not good. And it's not going to end well. It really won't. And if you have children, save your kids. Get them out of there.
Yeah.
Get them out of that situation, because you are damaging their whole future. You know, they're not going to let you fix them. They are sure you're their problem, and that's why they're hitting you. You're not going to suddenly just get through to them. You just got to leave, walk away, and hope that they can find help somewhere down the line. So
yeah, you can't take all that darkness into yourself if they're not gonna.
You can't martyr yourself on their dysfunction.
Exactly.
So
anyhow,
that's about the night. That's about the show.
Oh, really?
But I think that's a great place to leave it. I'd like having known people that have been abused and seeing how absolutely destructive it is. I can't think of a better way to leave the show than, if you're in an abusive relationship, get the hell out and leave. And don't look back, because nothing good is waiting there. So we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice to each other. I can't thank you guys enough for being here watching the portal. I love you dearly, and we will be back on Friday night again with the Paranormal Science Lab's own Lisa Martin, who will be joining us here on the portal. And then on Saturday, Don will be back with me here in the studio, and we'll bring you another fun-filled episode of the Paranormal Portal. What? Oh, what?
Okay, so what's the date this Saturday? This Saturday is the 15th. Remember I talked about the Saturday the 22nd, I will not be here.
Okay, so
remember I told you that?
a week from Saturday.
A week from this Saturday, I'll be missing the Friday and Saturday show.
All right. Well, we'll get through it without you, but we'll certainly miss you for sure.
Absolutely. Well, you'll have good backup with Pixie.
She's going to help me man the flow. So
there you go.
All right, guys, take care, and we'll see you on Friday night here on the portal, and then again on Saturday. Again, all of our shows are at 7 p.m. Pacific time, so make sure that you're watching at the right time. If not, there's always a replay coming, video on demand waiting for you. So.
Yeah, and don't forget, we're on BitChute now, and I'm going to try and get this one uploaded and another one uploaded tomorrow. Okay. So check us out on BitChute. I've put the link in there a couple times, and maybe we can start streaming through there sometime as soon as we can figure it out, eh?
Right, eh? That sounds good. All right. Take care, you guys. We love you, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
On the next Paranormal Portal.
In the next portal.